Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am really glad you're here. You know, it's been about 1.5 years since I installed the Harbor Freight portable garage. And if you haven't seen that video and you're watching from YouTube, you can click this link up here in the corner, or there'll be an end screen link as well. If you're watching from any other platform, I'll post a link in the comments or in the description. But the big question that I've gotten time and time again is, how is it holding up? Are you happy with it? And I can answer that question for you today, as well as share some tips that I learned during installation and afterward, thanks to many of you in the comments section. So the big question is, how has this held up and am I happy with it? Well, the short answer is yes, I'm very happy, and it's held up really well. In fact, better than I would have expected. I installed this on an August day, and it may not show in that original video, but I was pretty frustrated. I was extremely hot, I was hungry, and I was kind of in a bad mood, and most of that is my own fault. First of all, I'm not a guy who likes to read directions, and I thought that this was going to be super easy to install and self-explanatory. Well, if you follow the directions, it is pretty easy to install. In fact, if I put another one together, I could probably do it in a couple of hours. But you have to follow the directions. And it is not bad to install, but there are a couple things that I learned along the way that would make installing it much, much easier the second time. So hopefully this will help you if you're getting ready to put one of these together for the first time. One of the initial problems that I faced when I was putting this together is when I was putting the frame rails together, they would pop out when I would go down and try to assemble the next frame rail. And I was getting really frustrated, and I just wasn't thinking. But several people in the comment section had made a great suggestion, and I would definitely do this going forward. Just get some duct tape or some masking tape. When you put a joint together, just tape it lightly together. Just one wrap would be fine, and that will hold it together when you move down the line. Some folks had asked about, well, what if you use self-tapping screws, or you drill and put a nut and a bolt through it? I would really not recommend that for a couple of reasons. First of all, the design of this portable garage is that it's made to flex in the wind. And I think that's one of the reasons that it holds up, is because it's able to move and flex. And I think if you were to put self-tapping screws in those joints, they would shear off. The other thing is, the heads of those bolts or self-tapping screws may end up hitting the material and rub through it. So I wouldn't do that, but I think tape would be just fine, because all you have to do is get it to hold itself together until you get the shell on. Because the other great thing about this design is it holds itself together. Because once you get the shell in place and the front and the back, and you put it all together and tighten those ratchet straps, it really does hold itself together. Now, when I installed this, I had what I thought was a bright idea of anchoring the base to 4-inch solid blocks, because I thought having 8 blocks on each side, or 8 blocks total, would really hold this thing in place. Well, we don't even have terrible winds here like some parts of the country, but we do have some windstorms now and then. And what I found was that there's a lot of resistance here, and this thing has shifted 8-10 inches in heavy winds, and I've had to come out afterward and pull everything back into place. So I would recommend using the anchors that it comes with, or finding some other way to anchor it to the ground. Another thing I did was that after the installation of the garage, I laid down a sheet of plastic, then I covered it with wood chips, about 2 inches of wood chips, to keep moisture from coming up inside the garage. And I think that's a good idea, but what you really have to do is make sure that you put your portable garage on a high spot, or maybe backfill it with a little bit of dirt first, then lay the plastic down. Because what I found is that even with this plastic here, water from the outside tends to work its way in. It runs across the top of the plastic, and water gets between the plastic and the mulch, so now my mulch is all wet. One thing I really appreciate about the design of this portable garage is that if your sides start to get baggy, you can just loosen up the bottom rail, push it down, and tighten it up again. I also purchased the extended warranty, which I'm not usually a fan of extended warranties, but I thought this thing could be pretty fragile, so I paid for that. And the fact is, I may be filing a warranty claim this summer, and I'll show you a couple of areas as to why that may be. Now, first of all, this is totally my fault. We parked the lawn tractor in here and the exhaust blew right against the outer wall here and melted a hole in it. I don't know if that qualifies for a warranty claim. I'm going to check on that. Doesn't bother me that much because it was my fault. So we'll see about that one. Up here in the corner where the cover rubs against the railing, there's actually a thin spot that has worn through. In fact, if we go to the outside here, you can see where it's worn right through, and that's happened in a couple places. So to me, I think that may be reason for a replacement. I've also got a lot of wear here in the corner where the bottom of the cover has rubbed up against the frame. I can't really speak much about snow load because our biggest snowstorm last year was probably 6 or 8 inches, but I did come out after that snow and just took this broom and pushed on the top, and the snow did roll right off. So you'll probably have to do some maintenance if you get a lot of snow. One tip I'll give you is that for the front door here, there's an opening along the bottom, and this is not included with the kit, but along that opening you can slide a piece of pipe, and I just took this old piece of PVC pipe. You can slide that in there, and that gives you a nice rigid area for rolling up the front door. Otherwise, it's a little difficult to roll up the front door without that. I actually leave the door open a lot, but when you do want to close it, the zippers work pretty well, and they've held up pretty well. So do I recommend the Harbor Freight portable garage? Well, the answer is yes. I really like this thing. I think it's a great temporary solution for storing equipment, maybe firewood, but it does a decent job. Definitely take your time with it, read the directions, maybe have a friend help you out, but it's not bad to put together, and also do buy that extended warranty. I think it's worth the extra money. So thanks for watching today. Please do follow along on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and I look forward to seeing you next time.